Okay, guys, what is up? So I actually did this reading. Well, that just slid across the table, but that's cool. The veil is open, you guys, for the collective. This is something that is in my heart, speak about, to be about, to talk about, the whole entire karmic cycle relationship that's playing out with the, intrusions, the insults, the damage that we've done to our earth environment, and also to other beings, animals, and cultures on this planet. We've destroyed the earth and destroyed cultures, and people have been made slaves throughout the ages, crucified for their beliefs, burned at the stake. Right, and so, that's something that is in my repertoire of thoughts and just my, feelings as a healer, as a light worker, as somebody who cares, as somebody who has always been an empath and sensitive to that kind of thing. It was really interesting. I did, I was guided to do a spread for myself or just in general light workers. And so I think that that's neat that this message came across, and I was guided to share it with you guys. This was out of the past life. I thought that this was just incredibly relevant. So, I asked for what I should go toward, or what light workers, or what people who want to have a purpose, something to speak about, something to be an activist about, was something so intriguing because, again, going on my thoughts of what I should be working on, or what people should do if they're called upon, if they feel it. And it's just, I guess, finding the niche in the way, the specific groove that you're going to promote this message, because the past life cards showed us past life or past civilizations and their, flourishing time, and then their fall, their detriment. It plays out, of course, a mirroring image. It's reflected in right now, the present moment. What the theme should be preaching toward, what should we, what light can we bring, what are we, aiming toward, what is our goal? And it came up wisdom, ancient wisdom, and communal living, right? So, speaking of the Native American tribe, unfortunately, enslaved and forced genocide, basically, is what occurred all over, not just Native America. Been many cultures, the Africas, islands, you name it. There has been conquering and acquisition, which is not of God. It's not of light. It's not of love. This wisdom is to know that we do not take or enforce pain or conflict or harm on anyone in order for us to benefit. That's just should be in your heart as a cardinal sin. And so, communal living, sharing space, asking for space to share rather than coming over, in ships and coming with blankets with smallpox, or just enforcing your will with weapons, and has ruled the divine masculine in the negative sense, the ego, the, Mars, the planet Mars, of that aggressive nature to conquer, take with, ferocious power. So we should, right now, if any of you feel that ancient wisdom and communal living means something else, or your purpose to preach or to share about, rather to connect with others about, and to try to make a change. This could mean anything also, to go off, not just in this meeting that I'll explain, you can take it anyway, but I was thinking about communal gardens and different things that I see when I love to see. There's a couple of apartment complexes that have communal gardens, and the wisdom in doing this is having sustenance, food here, rather than rely on supply chain and supply and demand system of, we rely on boats, ships to get the cargo in, the cargo, employees at the dock. We rely on cars and trucks to bring it to our grocery store. We rely on the grocery store to be open and have that product. So it is really wise, that whole forming of community in order to help as a team, in order to produce and have, like plant the corn and have it for, harvest as a group, right? And everyone does something to help, not wasting something of the animal after it's hunted, like a communal effort to use the hide for something. We should, or this is the message with these cards today, we should really dig deep and try to ourselves, promote and speak about the ancient wisdom and the ancient, truth in knowing that communal teamwork, living rather than fighting over land and acquisition by power and force. That is what the message is, to try to get back to a place in which that is harmony, that is harmonizing, that is, synergy between groups for a purpose. And then so I just thought that this spread was unbelievable. After that, so this is the whole story right now. I got the card Atlantis. And if you don't know what happened to Atlantis, it's the same story. It is that said that, Plato explains that they got very advanced and were actually becoming very, entitled and abusive and nonchalant and taking advantage of Mother Earth and these different technologies, and really, as we have, polluting our environment with all kind of different things, as well as attitude, power, and control mechanisms that were of the patriarchy. Switching from vegetarian, they switched to, it said they once did not eat the creatures of the sea, and then at one point, then they were, laughing and cutting up these animals and which ones they honored, right? That's just an example of the vibe. We got the Native American card. So first the Atlantis card, speaking of that theme that I have been channeling. Then we got Native American card, which is me, see my throat chakra, speaking up for this, right, is my calling. I totally honor you if you think that this is, hippie BS or whatever your stance is. I know that it's in my heart, my calling, not to get angry and revolt on, this front, but to explain the truth, the ancient wisdom of America went down. I mean, it is not blaming anyone because no one's alive right now to blame it. If they were, we wouldn't blame, we would just work together on how to change that and how to make sure that that does not happen again. Power, and acquisition and ruining of ancient traditions that were held sacred to people and making them worship something that is foreign to them, and, then being driven out of their land and having genocide, right? So Native Americans also is just a lesson for us about what's going down now, about how, if the patriarch, the divine masculine, that lower vibrational ego sense of that masculine energy of the patriarchy system, if that is going to continue, look where we will be. I mean, probably nuclear holocaust, right? Because when it gets to a point of certain people, in countries just diligently protecting what's theirs and theirs only, and not opening up to that communal living, accepting that we are all here to share the earth, that leads to doom and disaster, because there's all kind of, war games being played out in the oceans all the time, not just recently. There is always this macho, very, very power and control thirsty, hungry, stubborn, communist type of agenda, where we or certain countries are truly looking out for numero uno and polluting the environment and the earth as they go, and not thinking of, in my opinion, the future. I also thought that this was interesting. We got authority figures and vows. So this to me speaks of authority figures, someone coming into your village, like a government, our government now too, right? Trying to run an agenda or program, or trying to dictate exactly how everything is going to go, who's going to live where, what is valuable, who can have what, the haves and the have-nots. The Atlanteans turned into authority figures that would dictate and put society into different bubbles, right? And in the beginning of Atlantis, everybody was equal, right? Like Lemuria and Native American, everybody was equal because they held a sacred responsibility within the tribe, no matter what the title was, warrior or medicine woman or, child, right? There is supposed to be no authority over your sovereignty, what you believe and what you are able to do in a positive light. The vow card, the vow that came up, I think, is to remember who we truly are as eternal souls who do not practice authority over others, especially when it is harmful and acquiring, things that may get so out of control, like nuclear weapons or things that Atlantis invented, or guns right? Guns that ended up being a big part of why the Native American tribes were decimated. It's like this natural, if you look inside you and your intuition, this natural love is there telling you that authority figures, government, someone mandating how you live, where you live, what you believe in, right? Like I'm not using this because I'm coming down on Catholic or anything like that, so that should be said. But it just is a big example and a metaphor to a lot of things in life. Just like the Catholic Church, the missions coming in and forcing upon, if you don't worship what we tell you to, then you're gonna die. I mean, that's just, if you look into your heart, I don't think that anybody who truly is looking at it from their higher self could say that is a good thing to have ever happened or to happen again, right? And this card I thought to leave off with, and I will end this, the karmic relationship, and that it just goes to show the tie-in of the story is that there is a karmic balance that we need to make right because of what damage that we have done to the earth and to the people of the earth. And before, we sink, before we are like Atlantis, before we are like the Native Americans who lived for thousands of years peacefully in their own culture, communal living, or the people came over from across the seas and decimated the buffalo. I mean, we could go on and on. So I think that the vow here is to, what is right. The vow is to make the karmic connection and balance come full circle before it's too late. And right now, I think that the timelines are open. I think that it's up to us. There's always a life path. There's always destiny. And destiny is for us to bring a beautiful, greater love and light and way of living with each other in harmony and communicating with love and loving intentions and non-judgment, etc., etc. That is one of the timelines, but I'll tell you what, there is also free will of so many people. So if we could just keep on encouraging people, keep on preaching that this is not hippie mumbo jumbo. This is the truth. This is what happened. If we don't take extreme care, concern, repair, make reparations where we can and really do it fast, there's also the timeline of, reset. We will always exist. Energy is transferable. But will we have to do like a Noah's Ark, or Atlantis sinks into the sea, or the Native Americans get driven out, almost decimated, put into reservation? There is always a regeneration, but do we have to get to the demise and the suffering first? That is the message that came through from Spirit today, and I was guided to share it with you. And I wish you guys a lot of love, a lot of just good intentions sent out to you guys. Blessings of light.